Hey everyone, welcome to Encore, and today we're going to talk about softening and concealing acne scars. Hey everyone, welcome back. So I've been getting a lot of requests on concealing or softening acne scars, and I personally like acne scarring. I have them, and I've grown accustomed to them, and it gives me character, from what my mom says. It gives you character. And I'm used to it. It never really bothered me, but there's many of you guys that's been requesting on how you can soften them, because I do soften them sometimes, especially when I'm on stage doing a show. Sometimes I feel like I need to soften them a little bit. So I'm going to show you how I soften my acne scarring today. And acne scarring, there are two kinds. There's like surface scarring, which means it's just a scar on the surface, and when you put a concealer on it, it completely disappears. And then there's also pit scarring, or commonly known as crater scarring, and that's where you get the deep wells that I do. And depending on the angle that you look at, you can see the crevices. So unfortunately, you can't do anything about that. So today I'm going to show you how to soften it, and hopefully this is something that you can use and something that's going to help you. Now, the first tip I have is that many of you experience caking in makeup when you are trying to conceal acne scars or acne in general. And caking is basically human error, okay? You caked that makeup on there. So my first tip is, like, instead of slobbing a thick layer of concealer or foundation to cover whatever you're concealing, is to build. So you want to start with a nice thin layer and then layer and layer until you achieve the coverage you wanted. So that way your makeup doesn't look cakey right off the bat. Okay, so you're going to achieve a little bit more of a more flawless looking finish if you do it in layers and build. Okay, so the first thing that I do, and I know there are extra steps that you're going to need to do to achieve, concealing acne scars. And everything that you do is twice, or you do it 2 times, okay? So the first thing I do, of course, you prep the skin using some moisturizer, which I did that. You can see my skin's a little glistening. And I also have a little bit of breakout going on right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Right there, and that's because I'm testing some new products and somehow my skin's not liking it. So yeah, but anyway, all good. It's going to go away, but I'm experiencing some acne breakouts right there, and of course, all the scarring I have. So I'm going to show that to you. So first thing I'm going to do now is prime my skin, and I use Smashbox Photo Finish. This is probably my fave, and I know the full-size bottle is expensive, guys. It's like $45, but just get the little tube, the little sample tube, and this is like $16, and it goes a long way, okay? It's going to take you quite a while to use this. So try to just get the little travel tube, I don't know what they call this, or sample tube, and $16. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to initially apply this to my skin, and I'm just going to use my finger. Now, if you're a makeup artist, of course, use a sponge if you're applying this to someone else. Okay, I'm just going to cover what I'm going to demonstrate today, which is just this area right here. And the primer is going to initially fill in the wells, especially if you have deep scarring like I do. Okay, and face primers also soften fine lines and wrinkles by filling in the crevices initially, so that way your foundation, your concealer doesn't sink into the fine lines and amplifying them further. So, alright, so what you're going to need to do is let that set, and once it's dry, apply a second coat. Like I said earlier, everything we're doing it twice, okay? Okay, so it looks like it's set, so we're going to apply a second coat. And then once again, we're going to let that set and dry. Okay, next we're ready to conceal. Now for concealers, I suggest something that has a full coverage formulation and preferably in the salmon undertone. Now you can check out Eve Pearl's Magic Salmon Concealer that has salmon undertone and full coverage, or you can also use one of my favorite. This is Ben Nye. There's the cap. Ben Nye, and this is Tattoo Cover. Okay, and Tattoo Cover is full cover concealer, and this is Tattoo Cover NT number 3. Okay, so it's kind of like just a little darker than my skin tone because it's salmon undertone. You can see kind of like the salmon base, right? And that's why it looks just a little darker than my skin tone, but that's what you need to neutralize the redness and the darkening in the scar area. Okay, now if you're lighter than I am, say you're an NC25 or an NW25 or NW20, then you might want to opt for 2. And I'm going to show you 2. I have 2 right here. This is number 2. Okay, this is number 3. Alright, and then of course if you're like really fair, then you want number 1. So I'm going to use my number 3 Tattoo Cover, and this is from Ben Nye. Now Ben Nye doesn't really have a store. It's not like something that you can just go to a department store and get them. So it's best for you guys to Google Tattoo Cover by Ben Nye and just find the retailers that they have near you. Okay, usually you can find this in theatrical places because it's a theatrical line of makeup and it's mainly theatrical grade products, so that's why I love it. Alright, so I'm just going to use a concealer brush, okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to spot conceal. I'm not going to apply this like foundation. I'm going to dab and spot conceal where it's needed. Okay, just like that. See how it's like neutralizing most of the scarring already, and it's not sinking into the pits or the wells or the craters, whatever you guys call it, because of the primer. So I'm just dabbing where it's needed. And then I'm going to blend and smooth all that out with a wet sponge. Okay, so that's going to be my first coat. Again, we're doing everything in 2 layers because we want to build instead of cake on the makeup. Alright, and then I'm just going to blend and smooth that out. See how that's coming along nicely? Look at that. Okay, and then we're going to apply a second layer. And just kind of concentrate on, at this point, on where it's needed more, okay? So I need a little bit more right there. Then I need a little bit more right there. So then we're going to go back to my sponge, smooth and blend that out. Okay, so that looks really good. So my next step now is I'm going to set that with powder. It's cream, so therefore you have to set it with powder. I'm just going to use a regular translucent powder and a sponge. Okay, I'm just going to press this. I'm not going to wipe it because I don't want to disturb the concealer. Okay, I'm just going to pat this right where I apply the concealer. Okay, now at this point you want to give it time to really absorb the powder and set. So what I recommend you to do is start working on your eye makeup or, you know, something else, your brows, and come back to that later. So it needs to cook per se. So let the powder do its thing so that it sets the concealer, and then you are ready to apply foundation. Okay, so I've given it a few minutes to absorb the powder so that it's set, and I'm just going to use a fluffy brush or a powder brush and dust off the excess powder. Okay, and then I'm ready for foundation. Now you can apply foundation as normal, the way you do foundation in whatever formulation of foundation you use. So here it is. It's definitely a lot smoother than when we started from. And here's the before. And this is what it looks like now. And that's it. Then you can achieve a softer look to your acne scars. And I definitely concealed a lot of them right in my cheek area. And then I'm ready for my skin finishing, whether it's going to be a blush or a mineralized skin finish or whatever you want to do with the rest of your finishing touches to your skin. So hopefully this video is very helpful to most of you or some of you. And thanks for joining me. Until next time, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.